Hey guys, AJ Gore here. Just getting ready for a tournament I got coming up this weekend. So doing a little prep. But I want to take a minute and talk to you guys about the basic drop shot rig. This is a very simple rig and technique that will catch you fish. Been proven a million times by anglers all across the world. And this is a technique that even the most novice angler can learn and implement quickly. So what you're going to want to do first of all is get you a really good sensitive pole and get you a very good reel with an excellent drag system. I'm going with this Ecooda Blackhawk. It's got one of the most amazing, super light, super sensitive drags I've ever seen, and it never ever hangs up. But anyways, let's get back to the rig. You're going to want to go ahead and line it up with about some 6 to 8 pound fluorocarbon cast king line. That's what I'm using as the cast king fluorocarbon because it sinks, and that's going to help it better. You can use monofilament, it'll still work, but fluorocarbon's a little bit better of a choice. Anyhow, so go ahead and rig that up, and what you're going to want to do is take you a circle hook. Now, let me show you some of these hooks. So this was the original style hook that was first used when this style came about. And how you tie your knot can be a little tricky. So since then, hook manufacturers have actually changed the design and put in this little swivel. So now it takes all the guesswork out of how you tie your knots and present your hook. So what you're going to want to do is tie, I prefer a uni knot tied on the top of the hook, so the actual hook is pointed upwards. Then take your leader, however length you decide, 6 inches, a foot long, 18 inches, whatever length you're trying to achieve, depending on how deep you think the fish are suspended off the bottom of the floor or the body of water you're fishing. That's where a graph comes in handy. You can really dial your graph in to see how high they are off the bottom of the floor and know how high to make your leader. If you don't have a graph, you're kind of just taking a guess, but it's still, if you think about a 1 foot leader, that will do you pretty good justice. Anyhow, so tie you a uni knot on the top and tie your leader with a uni knot on the bottom. Now it's going to present your hook outwards, so then you're just going to want to run your bait up to the end of the hook, the head, and then of course run the end of the worm over the edge. And that's going to keep that worm sitting out there. So when you're twitching your pole, jiggling it, and that's all you're going to do, just wiggle your pole after you drop it in, and the fish it's going to be right in front of their face. It's going to drive them wild, and they'll nail it. I'm telling you, it works. Now a lot of people will use a tungsten sinker or whatnot and get fancy. A good old-fashioned lead sinker worked in the beginning, still works today. So just tie a sinker, drop it over the edge, and catch some fish. I hope this technique helped you. And speaking of techniques, my friend Sydney in Florida is going to take a minute to show you guys a little something about how to tie a simple flipping rig. Here you go, Sydney. Take it away.
Thanks, AJ. So I'm going to talk a little bit about flipping. If you're new to fishing, you don't know what flipping is. Flipping is a great technique that many anglers use to reach the big, large bass. I mean, flipping it'll produce a lot of fish, but it'll produce monster fish as well. 8-pounders, things like that. Personal best fish. So when you're flipping, the whole idea is you want your bait to get into the pockets of the coverage you're fishing around, lily pads, mats, stuff like that. There'll be little pockets in the breaks. If you flip that bait in there, the bass are sitting back, looking up, waiting for something to fall in that hole. As soon as that falls in, they're going to go after it. So majority of the time when people are flipping, they're using big tungsten weights and big, thick creature baits or a big worm. So for me personally, I like to use either a 4/0 or a 5/0 wide gap hook. For me, bigger the bait, bigger the hook, and also using a bigger sized hook, I feel more confident in my hook set and being able to snatch that bass out of that heavy coverage. But everybody has their own opinions on what they like. But for flipping, I definitely go with the bigger sized hook and a wide gap. Now I'm going to send it over to Matt. he's going to talk a little bit about circle hooks.
Thanks, Sydney. Matt here. I'm going to talk about some circle hooks for saltwater fishing. It's my number one, what I prefer. There's different sizes. You can get a 4/0 like this one. You can get a 1/0 like this one. They go all the way up to 16/0 for sharks. But when you're red fishing like I do, I use the 4/0 to 3/0. It's the perfect size for them, and these circle hooks are a lot safer for the fish. They tend to set right in the corner of the fish's mouth, and it's easier to remove for you. So if they have teeth, you don't have to get near the teeth. You can just twist it and it comes right out. And all you do is stick your rod in the rod holder. When the fish takes off, it'll slide up back out of its mouth and catch right in the corner of the mouth. And these are a lot safer for the fish. Number one reason why we use these. But the J hooks, what you have to snatch, and I don't really like to use these. You have to snatch these and set the hook on them. Circle hooks where it's at, guys. Check out the circle hooks, and I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.